Hi, everybody, and welcome to Pop Therapy, a podcast where we explore the intersection between psychology and pop culture. There's so much to unpack, so let's get started. Well, look who we have here. Welcome back, everybody. This is your friendly neighborhood therapist, Omar. I guess I had some thoughts on not like Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, like not on them, not on whether or not so-and-so is telling the truth, or I really don't care about that. What my thoughts more so revolve around our response as like a culture, a society, a group, a population. I want to start off by saying, number one, I want everyone to try to say to themselves, I don't care. When it comes to other people's drama, we really have to do a better job of just sort of thinking like, oh yeah, I don't care about that. The stakes couldn't be lower. This could not matter less to me, to my loved ones. This is silly, and I should just let the courts do their job, right? Like that's what's happening. Let the courts do their job. And, you know, I do think that there's some smart reflections, some like pretty insightful reflections on the role of the legal system in situations like this. Conversations like that I'm fairly interested in. I'm like, oh yeah, like what is the role here? What do the courts do? Like what's their role? How do they try to uncover the truth, so to speak? Like what are the processes by which courts sort of seek the truth and all of that? But what ultimately this feels like is sort of commentary on our tendency to view legal matters as like a popularity contest, especially when it comes to, you know, a woman and a man like fighting each other or arguing against each other, especially when it's like a woman who says like, oh, this dude was abusive in XYZ ways. I do think it's an interesting reflection on the way we respond to that. I think our response is an interesting reflection, that's what I meant to say, on how we view disputes between men and women when abusive behaviors are called out, or like shady behaviors are called out, or inappropriate behaviors are called out. That's, I think, a more compelling conversation to have, right? Just like how we tend to side with a particular person or a particular individual and why. It's also kind of surprising to me, and it probably shouldn't be, but it is a little surprising to me how much attention this is getting. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that was the hope, you know, the PR people involved. Maybe that was the intended effect. I'm imagining it was to some degree, to get like so many people weighing in and voicing their opinions. From what I understand, from what I've seen, there was a little bit of a smear campaign strategy against Blake Lively. It seems like just sort of like putting little stories in the media, highlighting, you know, I don't know, her misconduct, or just like talking about, you know, I don't know how like quote unquote terrible she is or whatever. I have no idea. Again, I really don't care. Being an asshole is not illegal, right? Like being not nice is not illegal. Being abusive or like assault, you know, those things. And there are certain boundaries that should not be crossed. And there are certain boundaries that are protected by the legalities, by laws and stuff like that. So again, what I find interesting are how many people who have no idea about what they're talking about weigh in on this. How many people who do not know these individuals at all, how many of them are weighing in? Strangers, actual strangers weighing in on something, on events that they were not there for, that they were not privy to. It's fascinating to me. And again, I shouldn't be surprised. And to some degree, I'm not surprised. It's like, you know, we all kind of like love to gossip, or we all love to kind of like give our hot take on things, and we're all activated by different things in the media. So I understand a lot of the emotion behind it, but I think we are a little too obsessed with celebrities just like zooming out a little bit, I think we're a little too obsessed with celebrities, maybe a lot of too obsessed with celebrities. And there's just so much we project onto them. And this is just another example of that. And I feel compelled in moments like this to say, y'all, who cares what they do? Like, let the courts do what they need to do. And of course, when it comes to breaking the law or being abusive and stuff like that we should care about. Like, we should care about like protecting victims, and we should care about not being abusive. And that's fair, and that's cool. But this feels much more about personal feelings, or just like a lot of, it gives me like internet sleuth vibes, which there's some instances of that being helpful, but there's also so many examples of it being really, really harmful and unhelpful. But generally speaking, these are two celebrities who are taking each other to court. And it sounds like they got their lawyers to figure out whatever it is that needs to be figured out. And maybe we don't need to weigh in as much. And maybe it's okay to say like, oh yeah, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. I'm sure their lawyers will do whatever needs to be done in order to make sure that their client is well represented. And I hope there's some sort of reconciliation, or I hope they reach the truth. I don't know. Like, beyond that, I think we need to care way less about what celebrities are doing. Again, I think like case by case scenario, but in this one specifically, where like we were not on set with them, I don't know what happened, but stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, we'll let them figure that out. But our obsession with like what really happened, I find really fascinating. Especially because I would love to see more of that energy directed to really high stakes stuff. Like, I would love to see that directed a little bit more towards, I don't know, like political stuff, or stuff that actually impacts you, or stuff that actually impacts the people you love, or stuff that actually impacts laws and legislation. Like, that would be cool, if all of that was directed towards like protecting each other and protecting our rights, and like that would be cool. But yeah, I mean, I guess it is sort of seen as entertainment for a lot of people, sort of weighing in on things like that. Who's telling the truth? Was Blake really in love with Justin, and that's why she's doing this? Like, I get there's like a soapy nature to it, which I understand, but I think that should be reserved for like soaps, right? Not like actual people's lives, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's like a perfect way necessarily of approaching this. I'm just noting how many people are weighing in. And again, these are folks that have nothing to do with what's going on. These are folks that were not there. These are folks that a lot of them don't even have clinical training, but are throwing around diagnoses like it is their part-time job. And a lot of people that aren't lawyers weighing in. It's just fascinating to me. I'm wondering, what does this reflect about us as a whole? I think on one end, I love being as generous and gracious as possible. I think in a lot of ways, this helps people avoid actual harmful things that are happening in the world to some degree, right? It helps us not think about ourselves. It helps us avoid like really, really hard things that are happening in the world. And again, like, I get that. I get the need for that. I totally understand the need to like not think about, the mass starvation of children and things like that. Like, I get it. I get the inclination to be like, oh my gosh, this is like so hard, or this is too hard, or this is too uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that you need to force yourself to watch horrific things unfold 24/7. But I don't know, maybe ask yourself, like, why am I so invested in Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni? I think that's a fair question to ask yourself if you do find yourself so invested in this. And I am not. This is not coming from a judgmental place, or rather, this isn't coming from like a supremely critical place. I am genuinely curious and kind of like, oh, I don't know, maybe we don't really need to invest that much in what's going on between them. And maybe we don't need to invest that much into what celebrities are doing most of the time. Not all the time. Sometimes celebrities do be doing things and we need to be like, hey, don't do that. That's that's fucked up. Or, hey, I don't think that's a good idea. Right? Like, I get that. I get that there's some room for that, for like critiques and holding people accountable. I think that's fair. But when it comes to them two, Justin and Blake, I'm referring to them by their first name as if like we're best friends. But when it comes to the two of them, just because like I don't know what happened, I have no idea what happened. I wasn't there. So I feel less inclined to comment on what's going on between them because I just like don't know. So my approach to being at a bar and seeing like a fight break out, my approach is generally is like, oh, I don't know what happened. So I'm not going to really intervene. Most of the time, I'm not going to intervene. If it's between like two dudes, right, and they're a similar weight class and all that stuff, right, I'm just sort of like, all right, well, I have no idea what happened, so I'm not going to weigh in on this. I'm just sort of going to let the bouncers do their job or let the bar managers and staff do their jobs. I don't know. And I'm not saying that that's like the right way to go. But I do sort of appreciate, I guess I'm thankful for my ability to say, not my monkey, not my circus. And I think a lot of us could stand to use that phrase and apply it just a smidge more to things that really could not matter less to you and to the people you love and to just like people, just like to humanity in general. Just consider it, please. Watch a cartoon instead. Like if you need to be entertained or if you need to get your mind off of like terrible things, watch a cartoon, watch a comedy. I don't know, something like that. But this obsession with celebrity, this is just like one sort of manifestation of it. There are many, but this is one where I'm kind of like, I don't know about this one, guys. Let's bow out. Let's sort of collectively, decide to bow out of that and be like, we have other shit. We have bigger fish to fry here. So it's just something worth considering. I'm not telling you what to do. Don't jump down my throat. I'm not saying you better do this. I'm just saying consider the alternative if you find yourself absolutely kind of obsessing about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's, what is it, like civil court case? I don't even know. I don't even know what to call it. I just know not my monkey, not my circus. Okay, so I'm so excited to bring in our guest today for multiple reasons. One of them being that this is someone that I've known since middle school and high school. This is like the first guest that like can actually talk about like 15-year-old Omar in a way that other guests cannot. I cannot wait to also like reminisce a little bit. But this is someone who I deeply respect. She's a foodie. She's an artist who uses everyday food items to, as she so eloquently puts it, turn the mundane into the magical. Please welcome into your hearts, Tisha Cherry. Hi.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm so happy that you're here. This is one of those situations where, like, obviously we've known each other for a really long time, but we don't like talk every day or anything like that. So when I reached out to you, you were one of the first names I wrote down when I started thinking about this podcast. Like, oh, who do I want on? I want it to be like a pretty well-rounded like guest list, so to speak. And your name came up and I was like, how weird is it going to be for me to just like reach out to you out of nowhere and be like, hey, so I'm doing a thing. Could you be a guest on it? So I was like so nervous to ask you to be on.
No way. I'm still so excited. I didn't even begin yet. And I'm so excited because it's true. Like we know each other for a very long time, but we also haven't seen each other for probably the same amount of time that we've known each other. So it's really cool. And
yeah. I was mentioning earlier, you haven't aged a day. You look absolutely fantastic. So whatever you're doing, keep it up.
No, you too. I think it's the Bergenfield water for however many years.
I also think it helps, now, like being brown. I mean, not gonna lie, I think does help.
Blast.
Yeah, exactly. So I also wanted to tell you like a little anecdote. yesterday I was with, and she's gonna love this. I was with Natasha Durkin. Do you remember Natasha? Yeah.
You guys were our besties
Yes,
still?
we're still. Yeah, can you believe that?
Because you guys were, I mean,
Yes, we. Yeah,
both of
we
you.
were. Yeah, attached at the hip in high school. Yeah,
That is so cute.
I know. So I was with her yesterday, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're never gonna guess who I'm gonna have on." Tisha. She squealed, and she was like, "Oh my God, do you think she still remembers like?" How we tortured Mr. Miana in Spanish class like all the time. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm going to ask her what her memories are of
How about
Spanish class.
of me throwing a tampon on the floor
Yes.
and oh, yeah.
That
It was like
poor
annoying. Nobody was really annoying me at the time. I don't remember. It was probably very more dramatic than I thought. But yeah.
It was no, I remember it that way too, where you threw I feel like we definitely egged you on, like, oh my God, absolutely do that, and let's see how he reacts. And you were like, yes, ending the hell out of all of us, like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's see what
EMS is here and she's ready to represent, take one for the team.
yeah.
I think I got the tension though. I think he was just kind of like, oh no.
Yeah, he was just like, oh, brother. I think most of the time he was like, oh, brother. Like, what am I going to do with you guys?
Absolutely.
What are your memories of that time generally like? Like, how do you think back on high school? I'm just like so fascinated to hear from you. Because again, like, I speak to Natasha, so I know how she views it. But like, you, like, yeah, I'm curious to know, like, how do you, like, is it fondly or I don't know? How do you think about it?
That sigh, right? It said a lot. Well, I went to Boston University right after and I never looked back. I was like,
Yeah.
bye. And then just because I don't know, I think the tail end of high school was a little bit more challenging than the first few.
Okay.
I also wasn't like a stellar student. I just was like, I struggled with certain classes and I
Same.
just like had to really focus on that. But also it's like then there's like bullying and there's just people
For
just
sure.
always up in your business.
Yeah.
But I think I was just like person, just like doing my own thing and just kind of, if anything, a little more quiet than not.
Yeah.
But like I opened up to people who were like who I trusted and I was warm to. So that was like really special. Like you always sat behind me because of our last name.
Yeah.
So that was like fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked that. But then like in front of me, I think it was like Dan Santoro. Do you remember him? Like
Oh, vaguely. Yeah.
no name because we sat alphabetical order.
Really?
But that's what it's like. I was like, you were just close to the people that were around you.
Right.
So at the end of the day, like I wasn't that close with like the Acosta twins, because they were just all the way the or even the
always A. Yeah. D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys went to elementary school together? Is that how you guys know each other?
No, middle school also. I met her.
middle
Yeah, it's Roy W. Brown, baby. Yeah.
God,
That's where we
still
are.
standing.
Still standing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't love high school. I really didn't. And that's why I just don't really talk to everyone. I think I follow a bunch of people like Kristen.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. So yeah, I mean, I don't interact with a lot of people, but they'll, I'll watch their stories. Some of them are my close friends like you, but like otherwise it's just for people who just like know me personally and I can make like weird jokes because it's just a little bit of a weirdo. And
yeah.
Honestly, remember when we were in, I forget, maybe it was like chemistry or physics. She was like, and then he would, I know. So I have a really good memory, by the way.
I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. I have not you just slung me back into time hearing his name. I'm like, holy shit, that's right.
That is the principal. Yeah. Remember when like the teacher was like, we're all made out of dust. And then she said out loud, she goes, but I thought God made me.
Oh, that's
died laughing. We were like, but I thought God made me. She literally sitting right behind us. We're like, like laughing.
It definitely was not physics because I was not smart enough to be in that class, but it was science for sure. And well, it was like, is this a bit? Like, I don't even know. I like, wait, is comedy genius because that was the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
And like she was never the impulsive one, like we were, if anything. But then
Right.
like she shot out, like, but I thought God made me, and like gasped for air, and we're like, oh my God, girl, you good back there?
Yeah. And the answer to that is no. She wasn't good. She wasn't good.
She wasn't good.
Oh, that is so funny. Yeah, I do remember that. That was, oh wow, you're just like unlocking a core memory for me. I don't. How do I think of high school? It's like obvious. I mean, maybe not obviously. I think about it in terms of like a mixed bag because I was deeply closeted and just like trying to get out without being like outed necessarily, even though like anyone close to me had a sense of what was going on. But still, like for me, high school was just get through this. Like just get through this and then you can be quote unquote an adult. And then you just like figure the rest out, but just like survive high school and and then like just figure the rest out. So of course I have like nice memories, especially like with, like you said, like the people that were sitting around you. So, you know, like folks like you. And I remember talking on the phone with you a lot in high school and just like having like fun, like conversations and gabbing. And so, you know, those memories I hold near and dear, but overall, just like, you know, blatant homophobia and misogyny and racism was
all of the above.
All of the above that I look back on now and I'm just like, holy shit. And I feel like I had it pretty good. Like, you know, like no one ever like shoved me up against the locker or like anything insane like that. And so, you know, my heart goes out to folks that did not have it, you know, as like simply or easily as I did. But even then, I just like looking back on some of those moments, I'm like, I can't believe we were allowed to get away with that. Thank God I had, you know, people that felt like we're kind of on the same page, like similar senses of humor and like similar values and stuff like that. So,
but not everyone for sure.
No, for sure. And it's been really fascinating to see folks grow up into like adulthood proper and just to see like honestly how their political opinions have shifted over time. And I'm like, oh, interesting. And I don't know if you've had this experience. I've never said to myself when someone like I went to high school with is like, yay, Trump. I've never been like, no fucking way. I've always been like, oh, absolutely, that tracks. Like, yes. Like, I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. Like, yes,
noted.
Noted. Right, exactly. And I mean, you know, whatever. Like, everyone is allowed to do and vote for whoever they want, and fine. But I think at this point, it's like hard, nearly impossible not to sort of understand that does reflect some kind of like level of like where your values are to some degree. So
moral compass for sure.
Yeah. So it's been interesting, just like getting older and, you know, remaining like social. Yeah. And so, and like remaining social media friends with certain people and just like seeing all of that. Do you remember, this is so random, do you remember a student, Adonis Jimenez?
Of course, yes.
Do you know where he is?
No, but I know that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I saw him after high school once, like at a diner. And then I think I talked to him for a while and I loved him so much. And I like was like, oh my God, keep in touch. But I don't know where he is and I don't know what he's up to. But I remember him he was in the orchestra with me.
Yes. It wasn't in track and field too, I feel like. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he was like the javelin.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But no, he has a brother named Jonathan.
Okay.
Which I don't know where he's at too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's one of those people that I randomly will be like, oh, I wonder what Adonis is doing. I hope he's okay. Like I was just like randomly. And Natasha is really good at finding people on Facebook and Instagram. She is like FBI level. Like I will find them. She's really good at finding folks.
So give me 2 seconds. Her cousin is a Libra. Married in.
Right. Her social security number is she's
last
hold my drink. Yeah.
Got it. I love her.
But Adonis, she hasn't been able to find. So I'm like, oh, I hope he's okay. Anyway, so again, I mean, I think because I knew he was like one of those individuals that I'm like, okay, I think just like trying to survive, like just like trying to make it out of here. And so, you know, I was always interested after high school of just like, just knowing like, oh, I hope he made it out. And I hope like,
yeah. And he's safe and he's doing well. I know he's such a kind soul.
Yes. That's how I remember him too. Yeah. Always so kind. Yeah. Okay, so enough about high school. I want to talk more about you. So, your Instagram is just like this delightful collection of all this artwork that you've created with food. And I mean, I feel like a lot of the questions I'm going to ask you, or most of them, are going to be like dumb. But like,
Uh,
for the folks that don't know, talk a little bit about the art that you do, talk a little bit about the work that you do, and yeah, just like the projects you work on that we get to see on social media.
Okay. So I like to call it like culinary creations if I really wanted to be really, professional about
Yeah.
it. But really, it's just food art. And it's really just taking a moment to appreciate what's on your plate and taking it to another level. So
Mhm.
it's like a comfort with a twist. And so it just anything to make you like smile or give you a little moment of mindfulness to be like, wow, this food is like in front of me and it's look at the texture of the dragon fruit and look
Yeah.
inside there's so many seeds against the white. Like I'm again, it could be the tism in me,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where I'm like fascinated by like the how things oxidize and how things are the textures and the flavors.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of where it started. My dad's also a restaurant owner and a chef, so I was always around food. And back in the day, you would be able to sit in the car waiting for your parents to grocery shop,
Yeah.
with the window cracked and just like
Right.
waiting patiently on standby. And then he would get all these groceries and then go to the restaurant and then prep and then be like, wow, you did from here to cooking and then to putting it on a plate and plating and styling with all the sauces and it
Yeah.
becomes this delicious meal. I thought that was magic in itself, and
Oh,
that's
for
why
sure.
turning the magical, the mundane to the magical. Because of that, I really felt that cooking and meal prep was therapeutic, but also just
Mm.
kind of like making and creating art. Because again, I was very difficult. I had a difficult time in school,
Mhm.
so I didn't have time to create. I remember asking my mom too and being like, can I get like crayons or like color pencils? She'd be like, is it for a project? And I'd be like, no, it's just like, why not? Let me color. But like, I
Right.
didn't have time to do all that. I really didn't. It was between the freaking violin that I had to learn how to play, which I didn't want to.
Right.
It's like that. And so I didn't have time to create. And I felt like since I was able to like prepare a meal, that was my creation. And I
Mm.
think and I think like plating was all styling was a big thing for me. I'm like, oh, that doesn't look nice, or like, oh, that needs more greens in
Mm.
this pad thai or
Right.
fried rice. So like I always like, was a visual person.
There's always like an aesthetic
So yeah,
element, even to meal
yeah.
prepping, even to like just like, oh, I'm going to make myself like a delicious dinner. There was always an aesthetic component to it for you.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, the way
fascinating.
I would
That's so
cut
cool.
a cucumber,
Yeah.
cut a banana, slice something. So there was that whole thing. But again, I have no formal training. So I was actually really a little self-conscious in the beginning trying to film myself because I'm like, a chef's gonna be like, that's not how you hold a knife. And I'm like, but it made this,
Right.
mouse that I just created. So I didn't cut myself.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. And so when I lived alone, I would just take more time to like paint with sauces, a sauce from the diner, like, something like that, where I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, like, or like after getting takeout, I'm like, what can I do with this soy sauce? It was just kind of like silly, whatever. And I'd be on the phone, like talking to my friend or something. And then I would be like
Oh,
doing
so
it.
it's
And that's when
almost,
Instagram came out and I would just take a
yeah.
picture.
So it's almost like doodling, kind of like while you're talking to someone and just
Yes.
like doodling and drawing
Mhm.
things, that's how
Absolutely.
it sort of evolved for you, that you would just kind of like be
Yeah.
doing it while talking to someone. And then did you realize like,
Right.
oh, wait, this is not too shabby. Like I should take a picture of this, or I should like post this on. So like, how did that start for you? The social media element of it all.
Sure. It started because I love wordplay and puns, and
Mhm.
and it's turning into dad jokes now that we're older. And now it used to be like, you're so witty and clever. And now you're like, you're corny.
Right.
And I'm like, oh no.
Oh no. When did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a transition that happens. But anyway, but I love pop culture because of that reason. I'm always like, oh,
Right.
this rhymes with this, or this sounds like this. And so everything on my page is really a snapshot of what's in my brain.
Okay.
As weird as it is, it's like Hall and Oates, and then there's like Biggie, and there's
Taylor Swift and like Simpsons. Yeah.
And The Simpsons, exactly. It's so diverse. And then, but that's literally like my playlist on Spotify. Like really just what I listen to actually. And it's like, there's no subset. It just says like playlist and it's just like 50 billion songs.
Right.
But anyway, on shuffle. So yeah, I love wordplay. And I'll give an example of the Oreo dunk where I like twisted open an Oreo and it kind of looked like the Nike dunk. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to dunk it into the milk. And I had so that's where I was like, it wasn't really about the art. It was where I could post my like wordisms, like where I could just like have a word play.
Right.
And then that's what it was. So on my notes app, there's a bunch of wordplay. And I was like, how can I actually associate with that? And sometimes it's something different where it's like the Avengers came out or something. And I was like, let me do something like that, but have some sort of wordplay to that element. So it wasn't completely random. It's just like a little bit of a dopamine check in my brain. Like, let me just make something out of this for fun.
Let me like make this connection. Let me like between the visual element and like the wordplay. And let me complete the circuit. Kind of like
absolutely. Like, oh my God. So I have ADHD. And so that also like really allowed me to like get that like think very divergently.
Right.
Like, okay, how can I really connect these two random things? And so that way ADHD and just like make it work. And like, I did it, you know?
Neural pathway complete. Yes.
Correct. And then I'd be like,
right, and then and then pass out.
I got clean up. Yeah.
Wait, I love the way you tell that story. You know, part of it sounds like was about like your own mental health, basically, like your own well-being, your own peace of mind, and your own like how to navigate your own neurodivergence in a way that is so you and fun and like playful and all of that. And do you feel like that's been helpful for you, and how, if it has been helpful for you in navigating your own brain and your own circuitry, like how has it helped? What have you like noticed after all this time?
That I do have ADHD.
First and foremost,
that's what I noticed.
That habit.
Right. You see how that hyper focus on something? Yeah, there's that part.
There's a name for that.
Yeah. Yes.
You're right.
And then when you take a shower and you're like, oh my God, I have an idea. And you like run out of the shower.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to do the laundry. Yeah, there's all that now. But aside from that, it's just something where my brain is scattered and I was able to really put it on paper, on a plate, you know, that whatever I was thinking is on my Instagram, or like it's I can create something with it, and it makes me happy, and it makes other people happy, which is so fun and funny too, because like I leave all my work like from 2000 and whatever. If you scroll down and, you know, people have like, they curate their aesthetic, their feed. They want 9 posts only. And I don't do that. And I don't care. That'll make me a millennial or a boomer and whatever it is. But it's just me. And that's my creative process. And I actually have a lot of people who like replicate some of my ideas and works like in the past. But I'm like, well, the receipts, check the receipt. I did this 2017.
Hell yeah. We've got an OG with us, everybody. So don't forget it.
Okay. So let's remember that. No. So it's really allowed me to just kind of appreciate my uniqueness and weirdness in terms of my thoughts. Because if you want to tie it all back to, like, I was a little more quiet in high school because I was like, why does my brain think this way? Why am I so fixated on this thing? Or like, why do I want to like eat this with that? Or like, you know, it's just, why am I so fascinated with The Simpsons and like with all the colors and stuff like that? Like, so
it is
so random, but
it's also really interesting to hear. Not just you, but like anybody talk about their view of themselves, like in the past, because you just referred to yourself as relatively quiet, which sure. But the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about you from that time is like you were one of the funniest people I'd ever met. Like you and shout out Natasha, the two of you would just crack me up like all day, every day.
I can hear your laugh. I could totally hear your laugh. You know what I mean? Or like we would be able to like AIM like all day. I remember. Exactly. It was funny.
And so, I mean, like, and so I think the other part that I see through your work a lot is your humor. as well, which I want to highlight. You know, you're obviously so artistic, so visual, have such good aesthetic. I mean, the dress that you're wearing, I mean, 10 out of 10, no notes. Like, you have a great sense of style. And what I see so very clearly, and that what makes sense to me is like your humor, your like ability to laugh and make other people laugh is what is so striking to me and is very like, ah, yes, like that is, I do remember that. Like, that is Tisha. Yeah. Like, that there's always a little bit of humor involved that I always just like found so like lovely and entertaining, especially given the fact that, like, again, you know, high school is like, I need to get out of here. So it was like,
Right.
oh, okay, like at least I have like Tisha making me laugh, like in biology or whatever. Like, fine.
Right,
You know?
right. And psych class, remember
Oh
Insane
my
in the
God.
Memory?
Insane Miss Mc.
Yeah.
You did that. That was, yes, that's what I
Impulse
mean. But
control.
yeah.
Yeah. No impulse. Yeah. Like it came out randomly. Like it was,
Yes.
again, ADHD in women does come out different. It's not just like, it just presents differently. And
Yeah.
now that there is so much awareness in it, I just feel so much better.
Yeah, of course.
And I think when I did start the food art, there wasn't that much information. I was just still popping Adderall. I mean, actually, I
Right.
didn't take Adderall when I was creating, but I would otherwise. But I felt misunderstood a lot and misunderstood in relationships with friends and even with partners
I'm
and even with
sure.
my family and
I'm
the
sure.
Asian culture. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, I remember my mom saying too, like, she was like, Cherry, because, that's my middle name. She's like, Cherry, none of us are smart. Like, you're the one getting a master's degree. Like, like, you don't have ADHD and
Yeah.
like, just try your best. And I'm like, I'm totally popping Adderall right now. It's like, can't even just like get to the library on time. Like,
Right.
it's just like, so there was a lot of those challenges that I had to go through. But now again, like Instagram or creating food art is an outlet for me. But I do want to be very honest. I haven't been very active only because I've been taking like work a little bit more seriously too.
Mhm.
Like last year or actually 2 years now, I started working with kids with autism, and that was really challenging for me because I've been a therapist for 16 years.
Yeah.
And I've just done adult, like regular, and even just like orthopedics. And then out of nowhere, I'm like, let me just do kids with autism or even some like not true behavioral, but just like sensory issues. And I'm like, spoiler alert, it's not for me. But I wanted to try it just
Of
because
course.
it's an occupational therapy job. And so I like shift my focus on that. I also burnt out a lot. I worked through COVID. I was in the hospital. So there was that whole thing.
Yeah.
So I would say I didn't make it an effort to create art, which really took a toll on my mental because I didn't really have an outlet. I was just kind of like, let me just get through the day.
Right.
Work out, go to work, and sleep, right? That's the day.
Yeah.
Eat, oops. Yeah, but
Yeah. So the art in a lot of ways was, like you said, like an outlet. Also, it sounds like it helped you kind of integrate these parts of your brain into your life in like a really lovely way. I feel like with any kind of diagnosis or pathology or variant in whatever, like thinking or behaving, what have you, the goal is usually we need to stop it. Like, we need to stop this. We need to get rid of this. We need to like solve, quote unquote, solve this problem. And, a lot of the work that I do with neurodivergent folks is less about like, let's figure out how to stop this. And it's more about like, well, how can we integrate this? Like, how can we use this? How can we use like your superpower essentially? And it's, it's not, I want to be mindful of folks that are like, this isn't a superpower. This is like hard, which is like totally fair. But my approach tends to be like, how can we use this to your advantage? How can we make this work for you as much as possible? What if our approach was, there's actually nothing wrong with you? Let's start from there. Let's just like step one, there's nothing wrong with you, but there are some challenges because folks don't understand you or folks are not, or kind of like misinterpreting or misrepresenting you. So let's talk about the tension without defaulting to pathologizing you. And it sounds like you did such a good job of that. I'm assuming just like on your own? Like, I'm assuming there wasn't like a therapist. I was like, you know what I think would be helpful, Tisha, is if you like, I'm assuming you just sort of
He
like
took that
figured it out.
ketchup packet and drew a face as it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm so impressed by that you just like you figured it out on your own without, I don't know, without like a doctor or a clinician telling you specifically, like, I think you should, like, you can use this to your advantage to help.
I mean, I've gone to therapy. I actually don't even talk about my food. I rarely say anything about it. It's always about relationships or just relationships
Sure.
with, and like work stress and also ADHD. So it's all that. It's that whole thing. But yeah, I mean, they've asked like, oh, what do you do for, fun and like how, and I'll speak about that. Or like I'll have this was probably like a couple years ago where I had a really intense project and I was working I always worked full time.
Yeah.
I need my benefits. So it was just kind of like, I was like, I'm really stressed out. Like my ex-boyfriend called me and while I was filming something, I was editing and I got so mad at him and he got so mad at me and I just like lashed out and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
so basically, we worked through that, but it's one of those things where I did kind of figure it out on my own and I was able to, I guess, continue without burning out too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say as of lately, the burnout is totally real, especially during COVID where everyone was, if anything, I was like a little envious of everyone at home because I was in the hospital and I was like helping the nurses.
Seeing some shit, I bet. Like,
yeah.
At the hospitals, not like twiddling your thumbs, like at the hospital seeing some really grim stuff, I bet. Like really, really hard stuff. Yeah.
And that also made me realize or see other people's colors on how they are handling the pandemic or handling germs.
Yeah.
And or like social distancing and like making these rules. Like there's all these things where I'm like, there's so much emotionally, mentally, physically going on that I can't even like take the time to just create just for fun. Like, I don't know if I had fun because of that. And I would associate my creation as fun, even when it was like, when I had unpaid and paid sponsorships, it was just one of those things where like, I love food. I'm such a foodie. Like I'm a foodie through and through. So like I will work for food, but at the time I was like, I can't think right now. Like, thank you for sending me this box of pretzels, but I have nothing to do with them. I'm just going to bring them to work because these people are working 12 hours,
Right.
It's just one of those things where like, sorry, I can't post on my feed right now. Like, and that's where it kind of like took a toll on me. Like motivationally, I guess, like, or like the dopamine wasn't there, like the reward system wasn't there anymore. I'm like, there's so much going on right now in the world that I couldn't.
Oh yeah. I mean, similarly, I just remember working so much during that time from home. I do feel very lucky that I was able to work from home, but with like therapy, usually what's recommended in terms of a caseload is that you overshoot every week because the assumption is that you will always have a client or a patient that cancels or that like can't make it for whatever reason. So your caseload isn't really representative of like how much time you have to see clients during a week. You always go a little bit over. And then COVID happened and everyone was home and people were not calling out sick. So I was like, holy shit, no one's canceling therapy. So I would see everybody every week. And the other thing that made it like difficult was that usually, previously when someone would come in and they'd be like, oh, I want to talk about a breakup, or like my ex texted me, I could be like, oh, I remember how that felt. Like, I totally know how that feels. Like, I went through that too. This time I was like, yeah, girl, I don't know either. Like, I'm going through this in real time. Yeah. My response to everything was basically like, same. I don't know.
Yeah. like honestly, feelings are valid because I'm feeling them too.
Yeah, exactly. Which was a very unique experience. Usually, again, like clients would come in with an issue and I would have like a memory of it. And then I could like empathize with them and be like, I totally hear you. But this time I was like, yeah, we're all in this together. We're all just like, what are you doing to stay safe? I don't know. What are you doing? And that was like, that's part of what made it so bizarre and just like, yeah, it was really, really difficult not to feel burnt out most of the time.
Everyone. And that's one of the things too, I realized that it has come down. The new normal is now a normal.
Right.
And it's been 5+ years. And I feel like other things have just been weirder now. So either it's not gone away, but it's definitely not in the forefront
Right.
of anything.
Yeah.
So, but I did go to therapy for this too. It's one of those things where the world has never been the same since.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of, I mean, I'm going to pivot just a little bit, but I was curious to know, what were some of your favorite projects that you worked on? Was there any one or any particular project that you were like, oh my gosh, this is so effing cool. I would love to hear, what you feel really, really proud of in terms of the artwork that you created.
Number one thing is my sponsorships with Oreo. I'm no longer sponsored with them. It was just like per project. I have to give that disclaimer because every time I do post something with Oreo that's not sponsored, I do have to say that just because I was associated with them at some point. It's just like they would send me stuff which I love so much because it would be like limited edition, and I would really just be like, oh my god, a new color I could work with and like create something, and like I would match because I'm anti food coloring or as much as possible. Hence why I focused a lot on like the fascination of like the Swiss chard being like bright pink and green, or like watermelon being green, white and pink, like things like that, where I was really like wanted the true essence of the food product that just adding color. So again, I was just but no hate against anyone that used food coloring, whatever, that's on you. But Oreo is my favorite, where I would, really try to create something with a new flavor and new color. And during COVID, they had asked me to do like an Instagram live, which I've never done. And they had like millions of followers. And then they had so many parameters that was like,
oh, I'm sure.
You need to do it in 10 minutes. You need to read the comments. You need to create the art, and you need to comment back on the thing. And it has to be 10 minutes max. So I was like, got it. Okay. Yeah. And one time we did a trial run, and I was in my scrubs because I was about to leave for work, because they're like, can we just do a quick trial run? And I did, because I was like, let me see if I could. I've been practicing. I was like I could do this in 10 minutes. But it's like the whole thing, like looking at the comments, be like, nope, it's not a camel. I was like, no, it's not a car. And I'm still like making it like live while I was doing that. So, but that was really fun. And obviously the pay was really great for something that was so
it better be. Yeah. Because Oreo is not some startup company. So I'm glad to hear that they paid you well.
It was Oreo. It was Mondeli's money. It was great. It was really fun. Because again, I really love the product. I'm such a true Oreo fan, no matter what, through and through. It was my OG creations.
Right.
And so I very proud of that. And the fact that like I did it 3 times. We had 3
like trial
live guesses.
Oh,
like
wow.
It was like every Wednesday of maybe March. Or April.
Okay.
I think it was March. It was like the beginning of the pandemic or something. And then something happened where it was like the political climate has shifted. And I was nervous because I was like, I don't think I should be doing this like Instagram live thing, because it was like Black Lives Matter.
Yes. Okay.
I think it was George Floyd, maybe.
Right.
And I didn't want to say anything, but I was waiting on it. And it was that Wednesday. It was the same exact day, and they canceled it, which was fine. But I still got paid out, which was really nice. But I just was like, I don't feel comfortable saying that.
Of course.
And I had talked to someone who was like one of the people that were involved. And that they were like, we just wait on Oreo. And I was like, whatever you want to do, I'll still do it. But I want to, it's just really, there's just so much going on right now.
Yeah, of course.
It canceled after that. But another one was like the Shark Ninja knives. This was my most recent bigger project where I had to like do a live like food art creation with them, and like showing them, okay, this is how you roll to make the legs, and this is how you make the eyeballs, and you cut the circle there using the Shark Ninja knives. And I was like, this is great. I just got a new set of knives. And
I love that.
And I have to showcase them. I had to look up videos. I'm like, okay, this is how you chop properly.
Right.
Hold it this way. This is how you like sharpen it up. I have to do my own research. But that was really fun because I got to like go to an event or lead an event with other people who are in PR, and they got like knives, and I still follow them, and some of them are my close friends because we just you meet people and they embrace your weirdness, and so
you meet the people that are like, yes, do that.
I
Like,
get it.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You're
Like,
not
do
weird.
that. Yeah.
You're cool. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I am me.
That's so awesome. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned Oreo because I was going to mention that as one of my favorite things about your work because I look at it and I go, holy shit. Like, that's a small
Oh
canvas,
yeah,
I
too.
guess. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it is so detail oriented. I'm like picturing you with like a monocle, like to
I
get to
wish.
like so because it's like
Should.
so I know or like a magnifying glass or something because it's
Yes.
so intricate and it's just like so impressive to see how you execute that. Yeah. And even the way you use like soda, whether it's like Dr. Pepper or coffee, almost like watercolor. And it's just like, again, just like so impressive to see. So that's just like, just so you know, I like as a fan, that's like, those are some of my favorite things that you do. I'm just like so blown away by how creative you are. Yeah. I just like, I can barely draw a straight line. So anytime I see someone do like work with, especially an unconventional medium, I guess, I just find it so impressive. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, I started off with nothing. So take that ketchup packet at the
Yeah.
diner. Let's go. Let's just start, start with
Just
the
start.
heart
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and then keep going. Yeah.
So, one question that I ask every guest is what is one piece of advice or what is one nugget of wisdom that you got from the therapy world that you take with you everywhere you go? So, this can be something you got from your own therapist. This could be something you heard on a podcast or that you read in a book or even something that like a friend shared with you. What's one piece of advice that or wisdom again that you take with you everywhere you go that you'd like to share with the audience?
Great question. I think what really, really resonates with me on a daily basis when I even do like a gratitude journal or
Mhm.
something. And I really just think that like, wow, you're so lucky to be here. You're lucky to think this way.
Mhm.
It's really like embrace your weirdness, like,
Mm.
be authentic to yourself
Mhm.
and know that like you're not weird. You just have to embrace who you are, like take care of yourself, put your self-care first. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying that as like an occupational therapist, because that's
Yeah.
all we do
Yeah.
mostly, self-care. But it's that if you really learn yourself, learn your ups and downs and how you glitch,
Mm.
how your brain works, how your brain doesn't work, and be soft about it. If you just stay authentic
Mhm.
to yourself, you can make an impact no matter what,
Yeah.
because you're just always true to yourself. You're not lying to anyone. So if you have haters, doesn't matter.
Right.
They don't know what they're talking about. You know what you're talking
Right.
about. If you're having a bad day, you can console yourself. If your nervous system is up high, you ask yourself, what do you need? Why are you feeling this way? But if you don't have those conversations and if you don't really look at yourself through and really value yourself in a way that you're like, you are number one, like you're going to be okay. Like, I feel like your level of success will be, compromised
For
because of
sure.
that.
For sure.
No.
I love the idea of like embracing your glitch. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
embrace the glitch, understand what it is and maybe turn it into again like turn it into a superpower or turn it into this like really cool unique thing about you as opposed to something to yeah again like solve or medicate or what have you. And no shade to medication, obviously. Like everyone has to make the decision that works best for them 100%. But again, I like the idea of making those decisions based on how well you know yourself, right? Like based on the parts of yourself that you've worked at understanding. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
As opposed to
Absolutely.
like taking someone else's approach just because like they don't understand it. Like, oh, okay, well, like take some meds. And it's like, okay, well, maybe take some meds, maybe, but let me let me make sure I understand
Right.
what's happening here first.
Yeah, internal, exactly. Like in here and here, like
Yeah.
it's so connected, and everyone's going through their own stuff. So I
Mhm.
never like, so yeah, if someone were to judge someone, it's really a reflection on them.
Right.
This is what I'm learning too. And that's why if you just know yourself so much, you don't have to question anyone. You don't have to question the intent of others, because you already know that that doesn't have anything to do with me,
Right.
or, you know, or like if somebody comments about the artwork, or like, oh, like you're such a waste of food. I'm like, you don't know that I'm eating this. Like I'm
Right.
totally eating it. If you cushion yourself so much when you.
Yeah, you cushion yourself when you stay true to yourself. Yeah. What do you think the appreciation of your art and how you do it and the combination of like food and art, what do you think the appreciation of that maybe reflects in us as a whole? Have you thought about that? Like, oh, wow, a lot of people, this resonates with a lot of people having a blast looking at this work and looking at how I do it. Like, I wonder if you've thought about what that might reflect about just like us at large. Just curious. Not that you need an answer, but I was just wondering, like, what is your take on that?
So yeah, I've never heard that question before, and it's fascinating because now my answer is going to sound really selfish because I'm like, well, this is always for me. Like it was just a platform
I love
for
that.
me to
Yeah.
post my
Hell yeah.
weirdness
Hell yeah.
and my puns.
Right.
And when it's received well, I'm shocked. I never do it for other people. So that's why I never thought about it that way. But it's always a pleasant surprise. And I'm like, yay. Like it's again, like, yeah, you don't think I'm weird? Or like, this is weird and it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, or like, what's cool? Like, I don't know.
Right.
What's
Right. Right.
I got my dopamine fix. Hopefully it got yours. Or like it inspires others to like make something or appreciate the little things without being wasteful. And if you want to tie it back into with occupational therapy, there's kids who have like sensory issues with eating and food and like,
Right.
you know, textures and stuff. So there's like I've had friends who talk to me and I'm like, why don't you mash them? Or why don't you like boil it this way? And like smiley face, literally make a heart, make a shape, make something that they like based on the vegetables or the ingredients so there's that whole component where I'm like, I would like to inspire people, but that's not my main goal. It's kind of like, this is just a thought in my head and here it is on a plate.
I love the idea of it being a byproduct, the like inspiration or the fact that people are just like enjoying it and are entertained by it, that is simply a byproduct of the fact that you're like, oh, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this thing that I just like really like to do. And if you're entertained or inspired by it, awesome. That's not really why I'm doing it, but like, okay, like, sure, why not? Like be inspired, like, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just meant to be fun, I think. And I don't like to do a lot of sponsored stuff because of that reason. And yeah, it makes money. And like, I'm very thankful that I have a full-time job. Obviously, it doesn't pay as much as the media does, but but it's one of those things where I'm just not an advertisement. Like you don't go to my page to like be biased on a product. Like, yeah, if you pay me, I'm going to tell you to buy it.
Right. Yeah, happily. Yeah, pay me. Yeah. Sure.
The more you pay me, the more I'm going to tell you that, yes, you're going to have to, this product is the best product. Yeah. And that is the truth about social media.
Right. Like, exactly. Yeah.
I started when Instagram started. So when they started calling me a brand and they called me an influencer, imagine never hearing those words. And as an occupational therapist, like, what brand are you talking about? I feel like you're the brand. I was like, I'm a brand.
Yeah, because you're like, wait, like Nike? Nike's a brand. I know that. Like, wait, what do you mean? Yeah.
Or the influencing thing. I was like, wait, I don't want to be that. Like, I'm an artist, and I always think that way. But people value what I think because of my experience in terms of eating. That's cool. Like I can influence you to do that, but I still morally feel bad if I am telling you to like this product because I'm forced to tell you
say that. Right.
Not forced. I'm sorry. Paid to tell you that.
Yeah, true. Even that's a good distinction, but fair. Yeah.
Yeah. But and that's why I love Oreo, because that's, again, authentic to me, authentic to my taste buds, authentic to my everything. I love Oreo so much. But yeah, it's one of those things where you see on Instagram and then you see that. And this is why I also don't post this much nowadays. Instagram is not the same anymore. It's not organic at all.
Yeah.
And the more you engage, the more you aesthetically curate something, the more views you'll get. And at the end of the day, it really is not authentic. And is that not what I've been talking about the entire time? That like the one piece of advice that really resonates with me every day is just to be authentic. So when you see that, and I can actually see people who I know it's paid, I know they're getting a lot of money from it, and I know they just want content from this, and I just get turned off.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad that that's something you recognized so early on about, and that you didn't feel, or at least you didn't decide like, okay, well, I guess I just have to like okay, I have to do more sponsor stuff now. Like, oh,
Sell my
okay,
soul.
I guess yeah, guess I have to sell my soul to the highest bidder. And,
Mhm.
and don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are ways of navigating the media landscape in a way that feels, I don't know, like ethical or as ethical as possible. But that is like a lot of work. Like you really have to think about how to do. I don't think anyone accidentally navigates social media and just like media in general, like ethically. You really have to like be
Oh,
thoughtful about it
yes.
and strategic because otherwise you realize that you're doing something that actually totally goes against your own ethics and morals and stuff like that. And that feels more prominent than the folks like yourself, honestly, that are like, oh, I actually don't need to post every day. Like, I don't need to do that. And I'm not going to set myself up or like expect that I post every single day.
So yeah, I mean, I don't hate on anyone that does this for a living, and I think they should, but I don't like to trick people.
Yeah. I mean, period. That's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I just like don't want to trick you. Great. Yeah.
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 You can look at my art, like, don't be mean.
Right.
That's it.
You can look at my art. Please don't be mean. Yeah. I think words to live by. Look at my art. Just don't be mean. Yeah.
Yes.
If you have a memoir, that should be the title of the. You can look at my art. Don't be mean is perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, I mean, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. It's been so lovely seeing you. You look so great. It looks like things are going really well. I'm glad you're safe and all that after all the just like there's just so much going on. So it's always nice to see like, oh, okay, you're like alive and you're doing all right. Yeah, that's like
Surviving.
we're surviving.
Always trying to thrive, but
Yeah.
for now we're surviving.
And that'll do for now. Anyway, thank you so much again. So, where should people find you if they wanted to see your artwork or if they wanted to, yeah, just like learn a little bit about you and what we were talking about? Where can folks find you?
I'm mostly on Instagram, so you could find me on there. It's at Tisha Cherry. So yeah, you can DM me comments
But
and
don't be mean.
whatnot.
No mean comments.
No mean comments, but just say hi.
I love that. Okay. And, keep in mind, everybody, that while I am a therapist, this podcast is no substitute for good old fashioned therapy. So take what's useful, leave the rest. And don't forget, therapy makes you hotter. Bye.